Power, in its purest form, is rarely loud. It operates quietly, beneath words, shaping how others think, react, and move. Most people mistake control for visibility. They talk more, assert more, and expose their emotions to prove authority. But the more they try to control, the more control they lose. True power begins when you stop performing and start observing. It's the awareness to read every room before entering it, to sense insecurity behind confidence, and to respond not with emotion, but with precision. The individual who commands silence, commands attention. Stillness becomes presence. Restraint becomes strategy. Every movement is deliberate because nothing is done for validation. Power is not a reaction, it's preparation, the understanding of timing, distance, and perception. Once you master that, you no longer chase outcomes, you design them. This is the foundation of invisible authority, the kind that moves without being seen, yet influences everything around it. Most people believe control comes from constant action, speaking first, deciding fast, and always being visible. But that's not control, that's insecurity disguised as dominance. The need to be seen is a silent confession of fear, fear of being irrelevant, ignored, or powerless. Real control begins when you stop reacting to everything around you. The wise understand that influence doesn't come from force, but from timing and awareness. When you observe instead of rush, people reveal their weaknesses on their own. They expose their motives, their limits, their desires, and you gain the map to guide the situation. The illusion of control fades once you realize, you don't control others by holding them tighter, you control direction by holding yourself steady. Every interaction carries invisible energy, emotion, tension, curiosity, resistance. Most people are pulled by it, the strategist learns to direct it. Influence is not about dominating people, but about understanding emotional flow. When you sense the mood of a room, the tone of a conversation, or the hidden motive behind a question, you can redirect that energy toward your advantage. Instead of confronting aggression, you absorb and redirect it. Instead of reacting to negativity, you convert it into focus. This is the law of energy direction, the ability to shape emotional gravity without using force. Those who master this never need to fight for attention. The environment begins to align with their presence naturally. Power, then, becomes effortless, not through words, but through energetic control. Stillness is not the absence of action, it's the control of it. Most people speak to fill silence because they mistake quiet for weakness. But in truth, stillness is a form of dominance. It unsettles those who rely on noise to feel powerful. When you remain calm while others rush, you create psychological contrast. Your composure becomes authority. Stillness allows you to observe without interference, to think clearly when others are clouded by reaction. That it's not passive, it's strategic restraint. In moments of chaos, the person who doesn't flinch automatically becomes the anchor. The disciplined mind doesn't move with emotion, it moves with intention. Power isn't shown through how much you do, but through how little you need to do to stay in control. Human attention thrives on contrast. Predictability makes you invisible, but deliberate contrast makes you magnetic. To command attention, you must master rhythm, when to be silent and when to strike. The strategist doesn't remain constant, he moves between restraint and intensity, calm and sharpness, creating an unpredictable energy that captures focus. Controlled contrast builds psychological tension. People can't ignore what they can't predict. Every word and movement gains power because it breaks pattern. This doesn't mean acting erratically, it means acting intentionally. Your quiet moments make your strong ones more impactful. Like shadow defines light, restraint defines strength. When you learn to balance both, you become unforgettable. Authority is not in being loud or consistent, it's in knowing when to shift the tone so every action lands with precision. Human nature is drawn to what it cannot fully understand. Mystery creates gravity, it pulls attention without asking for it, but mystery isn't about hiding, it's about selective revelation. When you share everything, you lose value. When you reveal only what's necessary, you control perception. People respect what they can't easily define because it forces them to think, to wonder, to chase understanding. This psychological tension builds fascination and authority. The key is balance. You must be clear enough to be respected, yet restrained enough to remain intriguing. A mysterious presence doesn't rely on validation, it allows silence, distance, and subtle confidence to speak louder than exposure. The less people know about your intentions, the more they project power onto you. In a world addicted to visibility, mystery becomes your most strategic form of influence. Power weakens when it becomes too available. Constant presence makes even strength feel ordinary. Strategic distance protects your energy and amplifies your influence. When you step back, you create space for curiosity to grow. People begin to notice your absence more than they did your presence. It's a psychological effect. Scarcity increases value. Distance also provides clarity. It helps you observe without emotion and return with precision. The powerful know when to engage and when to withdraw. They don't vanish out of weakness, they withdraw to regain leverage. When you appear again, every word and action carries weight because it wasn't given freely. Absence turns moments into events. The strategist uses distance as a tool, not an escape. By controlling how often you show up, you teach the world how much your presence is worth. Emotions are raw energy. They can destroy or empower you depending on how you use them. Most people are ruled by their emotions. They react without awareness and lose control of outcomes. But the strategist practices emotional alchemy, transforming every feeling into a useful form. Anger becomes clarity, fear becomes focus, and pain becomes wisdom. Nothing is wasted because every emotion holds information. Instead of suppressing what you feel, you study it, refine it, and redirect it. This ability separates emotional strength from emotional chaos. Control doesn't mean coldness, it means intelligent transformation. When you stop fighting your emotions and start shaping them, they become tools for precision, persuasion, and presence. The one who controls his inner chemistry no longer depends on external stability. He becomes the calm within the storm. Silence is not emptiness, it's pressure. In every interaction, there are small pauses that hold invisible power. Most people rush to fill them because they fear discomfort, but those who can hold silence create control. A well-timed pause commands attention, reveals insecurity, and forces others to speak more than they intend. The pause slows time, giving you space to read emotion, measure reaction, and choose words with precision. It's not hesitation, it's strategy. In conversation, silence becomes a mirror, it exposes truth. In leadership, it becomes authority, it shows you are never rushed. The science of the pause is simple: whoever can hold it longest, holds control deepest. When your silence carries weight, even your few words feel amplified. Power isn't just in speaking, it's in knowing when not to. Powerful individuals don't need to be everywhere to be felt. They understand the value of asymmetric presence, appearing rarely, but impactfully. When you show up with purpose, every moment becomes amplified. Presence is not about frequency, it's about effect. The strategist avoids overexposure because repetition dulls influence. Instead, each appearance is deliberate, timed, and precise. Like thunder that strikes once but shifts the entire atmosphere, asymmetric presence creates anticipation. People begin to associate your presence with importance. The key is preparation. When you enter, you must bring clarity, calm, and direction. You don't fight for attention, attention adjusts to you. The more intentional your presence, the less effort you need to command respect. True authority doesn't announce itself, it arrives once and changes the tone of the entire room. The highest form of control is subtle, it shapes behavior without direct force. You don't command people, you design the environment where the desired outcome becomes natural. This is influence through structure, not pressure. You use tone, silence, and timing to set invisible boundaries. People feel guided, not dominated, because your control flows through alignment, not resistance. Those who control openly face rebellion, those who control silently face obedience. It's the principle of indirect command, leading through invisible design. The strategist never fights for control, he builds systems where control happens on its own. Power maintained through pressure is temporary, but power that shapes perception becomes permanent. When your influence is woven into the atmosphere, you no longer have to assert control, the world begins to move in the rhythm you set. Real transformation begins when you stop seeking control over others and start mastering control over yourself. Every principle, stillness, distance, mystery, and timing, leads to one truth: command is internal. The stronger your emotional discipline, the less external chaos can affect you. You no longer need to react, chase, or prove anything. Your presence alone begins to influence direction because it radiates certainty. Control gained through fear collapses with time, but command born from composure becomes timeless. When your mind is stable, your words carry authority. When your emotions are aligned, your silence carries power. This transformation is not about becoming someone else, it's about uncovering the part of you that never needed permission to lead. Power is not always visible, and influence is not always loud. The unseen game is played by those who understand energy, rhythm, and restraint. They don't dominate through force, they move with awareness. Every silence, every pause, every absence is deliberate. They shape perception, not through manipulation, but through mastery of self. The world will always chase visibility, more words, more movement, more noise. But those who choose stillness, timing, and distance rise above it. The unseen game is not about winning over others, it's about winning over impulse. When you no longer need to react, you begin to create. That is where true command begins, silent, focused, and untouchable.